Hey everybody!
Hi.
Welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club.
I forgot the name of our own show.
Yeah.
You said that, I was like, what foreign language is he speaking? This is the Super Mario Brothers show.
Welcome to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Starring me, Luigi.
What? No, I'm Luigi.
Oh, you're Luigi. Alright then. Then I guess I'll be Mama Mario.
Which one of us would be Luigi? I don't think either of us make a particularly good Luigi.
No. Let's play an opening to a show, shall we?
Something that has nothing to do with Mario.
I say opening, but it's really just some whooshing sounds. For anybody who could not recognize those whooshing sounds, today we're looking at the Sonic the Hedgehog OVA.
Wait, I recognize that whoosh!
Somebody will. I would have.
That's true. You do also have a problem.
I have many problems. This is Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just called Sonic the Hedgehog. But it is the OVA Sonic the Hedgehog, not the 1993 one that I know we haven't covered yet.
Listen, there's a lot of video games out there, and a lot of cartoons based on those video games, and not a lot of time in my day.
No. There's a lot of time in my day, but not so much in yours.
Yeah, I need to dedicate at least 4 hours to sitting comatose in bed doing nothing.
I do that in the morning. This was released, since it's an OVA, it was straight to VHS. For anybody who doesn't know what they are, it's an episode of an animated show that's released straight to video instead of on TV. And each tape usually just has one episode on it. I don't know if they really do it anymore.
I feel like it's obsolete.
Yeah. I know they were still doing it on DVD, but like, what would they do it on now? They give you a USB.
Mail you a flash drive.
I guess they probably just put them on YouTube.
Yeah, have some kind of streaming thing, or you just pay and it, like any kind of program.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or any kind of video that you buy or rent digitally.
It came out originally on the 26th of January 1996, but only for rental. You could rent the tape, but you couldn't buy it yet. And then
You don't own Sonic the Hedgehog.
Nobody owns Sonic the Hedgehog except Sega.
No, especially not Sega.
He's loose. That's why they went 5 years without a new game just recently.
They had to catch him.
They couldn't wrangle that hedgehog. But it came out for sale on May 31st, so eventually you could buy it. And the English dub didn't come out until like 3 years later. The English dub was released on September 7th, 1999. So they only made 2 episodes of this. And then for the English version, they combined both episodes into one long movie. I spent ages trying to find the 2 episodes separated so that we could cover one episode. At the time this came out, the most recent game was Sonic Labyrinth.
I forgot that existed.
Sega didn't. They referenced it recently. I never thought I'd see them officially reference Sonic Labyrinth, but they did it.
And history is darker for it.
Tails Adventure and Knuckles Chaotix had both recently been released. But the most recent game in the main series was Sonic and Knuckles, which had been out for just over a year at this point, I think.
Knuckles Chaotix has never been released good on anything, has it?
No, only ever the original on the 32X, that's it.
I'm still sad about that. I want to play it.
Apparently, I think I read somewhere that they wanted to put it in Sonic Mega Collection, but they couldn't get the emulator to work.
Oh no!
I've played it, but I'd love to have an official release, because I never had the 32X, so I've only played emulated ones.
Mm-hmm. I want to hear that good soundtrack.
When this came out, Sonic the Fighters and Sonic 3D were both like on the horizon. They were the next 2 games that would come out.
I'm still bummed that I didn't see that arcade machine until it was too late.
Oh, the Sonic the Fighters one.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty fun. I like that game. It's goofy and cartoony, which you don't get enough of in fighting games, I think.
Yeah, they take themselves very seriously.
Yeah. The dub release of this came out 2 days before Sonic Adventure did. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
Really?
But isn't that funny? Like, the two things they did to promote Sonic Adventure were translate this and make Sonic Underground, neither of which have anything to do with Sonic Adventure.
But it got everybody talking about that dang Sonic Hedgehog.
Yeah, I guess it did, for better or worse. This is the first animated Sonic project that actually had direct involvement from Sonic Team, because Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima both acted as supervisors. Those are the two. Yuji Naka created the gameplay of Sonic, and Naoto Oshima designed the character. But according to Naka, it wasn't until Sonic X that they actually had a real say in what an animated series did. So Sonic X is the one that came closest to how Sonic Team imagined Sonic, apparently. It's so weird that like, all these animated shows were being made and they just were ignoring the creators.
Yeah, but is it surprising?
No. This was animated by Piero, who I'm sure we've talked about before, but I could not find where we did, if we did.
Clown.
But they did Naruto, Bleach, Tokyo Ghoul, Yu Yu Hakusho, Tokyo Mew Mew. Apparently they did animation for Legend of Korra as well.
I don't know, these are some pretty obscure titles you're giving us.
I know, right? Naruto? I've never known him. I've never known his touch.
That's probably for the best.
And that's it. That's all the preamble I have about this. I don't think there's much point in us talking about Sonic, because we've talked about Sonic so many times.
And if we get you started, you'll never stop.
Yeah, so here we go. I'm stopping right now.
Show's over, folks. Bye.
No, now we have to talk about the show. You did watch it, right?
No.
Oh, crap. All right, well, this is going to be very one-sided then.
Yes, I watched it.
I know you did. So this episode is called Journey to Eggman Land, which is great, just right off the bat.
It is.
It's written by Masashi Kubota, who went on to write some episodes for Dragon Ball and Beyblade after this.
Very similar to Sonic the Hedgehog.
Beyblade actually kind of is. I remember, I never saw much of Beyblade, but I remember when I watched the show when it first came out, I saw a couple episodes and I was like, oh, the main character is Sonic, then there's Tails, there's Knuckles, okay, there's Shadow, there's Amy. Like, it's got the exact same tropes for its core cast. And I guess that's just because that's, the tropes of Japanese shows, but it was more notable in Beyblade than anything else I've watched. Because you can do it in reverse as well. Like, I know you can look at the Sonic characters and be like, oh, there's Goku, there's Vegeta, there's Piccolo.
There's no such thing as an original character, and Sonic is the shining beacon of that.
There's only one original character, and it's, what was his name? The Nothing Personnel kid?
Cold Steel the Hedgehog?
There we go. That's the only original character.
You don't even know your real Sonic lore?
That's not real. That's real life lore. I don't know real life lore. So the show opens with just some like pulsing shots of Metal Sonic in a tube or something, and he looks good.
He looks good. He looks like he's been working out.
It's just like a painting of Metal Sonic, I think. He's way too fancily shaded for it to be a cell. But it was cool. He's the first thing we see.
And we'll never see him again.
No, we don't see him again for the rest of this episode. He's the main focus of the second episode, but it is kind of funny that they chose to introduce him here in this episode. The very first thing they introduce, and then he just doesn't come up again.
Yeah, I was very confused. So thank you for clarifying that there's a part 2, because otherwise this was a very unsatisfying experience.
Yeah, if you just had part 1 on its own and you didn't know there was a part 2, be like, why is Metal Sonic here? Why do you mention that? Also, they call him, Eggman calls him Hyper Metal Sonic.
He's not hyper yet.
Oh, I don't know why he says that. I don't think they ever call him Hyper Metal Sonic in part 2. He's just Metal Sonic for the rest of it. So I don't know why he's hyper here. But anyway.
I don't know. Maybe he got into the juice boxes.
Maybe.
Sugar overloads.
Eggman is not a very mindful parent.
I never would have gathered that. He seems so calm and composed.
This was the first animated appearance of Metal Sonic. I mean, unless you count the couple seconds of him you see at the end of Sonic CD.
I do.
In the credits. All right. Well, then this was the second. But I don't think he showed up again in another cartoon until Sonic Boom. Because they didn't put Metal Sonic in Sonic X. Eggman is played by Junpei Takiguchi, who is known for playing Perisuke in Time Bokan, Count Brocken in Mazinga Z.
I thought you were going to say Count Brocula.
That's a Pokemon character. He played Rambos in Tekkaman, Porunga in Dragon Ball. I don't know any of those characters, but here's some that we do know. He's the Japanese voice of Grandpa Simpson.
Oh, yeah.
Huckleberry Hound. The Swedish Chef.
Why?
Krang from Ninja Turtles. And Dexter Jetster, who is a Star Wars, but I don't remember him.
No, me neither.
He was ran a food stall in one of the movies. I don't know why he's so important, but I recognized his name. And I was like, who's Dexter Jetster? Is that one of the pod racers or something? It's just some random food guy. Why do people talk about him so much?
I don't know. Maybe people just really like his style.
Maybe.
Don't hate on Dexter Jetster.
Sorry, Dexter. If you're listening. In the English version, Robotnik is played by Edwin Neal, who is best known for his role as the hitchhiker in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, according to Wikipedia.
Oh, cool. The original?
Yeah.
Okay.
He also played Berg in Gatchaman, and he played Two-Face, Killer Croc, and Harvey Bullock in DC Universe Online. Now we go away from Eggman's base and we see South Island from the sky. And there's some funky music that plays, and I like it. It's fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, that music was the first thing I knew about this, because I found a MIDI of that music before I knew there was an OVA. And I was like, what's this song? It's cool. Where is this from?
So I am not as familiar with Sonic CD music or anything. Was all of the music in the OVA original, or was it from anything?
Yeah, it's all original music just for the OVA.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
It was good. It definitely... I feel like it almost has the feel of Sonic CD music. Not quite. It's missing the kind of electronic tinge, but the melodies feel very Sonic CD-ish.
I agree.
Here we meet Old Man Owl flying in his funny little dinky ship.
So Sonic is familiar with this man. Where is he from?
I don't know. Tokyo.
He's not canon to Sonic before this. It's literally just some guy Sonic knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, this isn't a character that exists outside of the OVA. Although I kind of like him.
I like him.
I would be okay with him being adopted into Sonic canon, honestly. And also, he looks way more like a Sonic character than the owl from the live-action movie does.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just an owl.
Yeah.
Longclaw or whatever name was. She's just a big owl. This guy's wearing clothes and has hands and feet. He looks like a Sonic owl.
He's cool, but Sonic seemed to already be tired of him. Like they had some kind of long and sordid history.
Yes, we are just kind of like thrust into this new world that's been created for the OVA. So, and here, like, this is South Island that we've just arrived at, but it's a floating island like Angel Island, which South Island isn't in game canon. South Island exists in game canon. It's where Green Hill Zone is. South Island is where Sonic 1 takes place, but it's not an island in the sky. I believe South Island was described in the Sonic 1 manual as an island that moves around the Pacific Ocean. So it's hard to find. If you find it once, it's hard to find again because it won't be in the same place.
I think you've told me that before. That information feels familiar.
It's some cute little world building lore that is tossed aside for this. And the thing that makes Angel Island special is that it's in the sky. But here, South Island is also in the sky. And Angel Island just isn't mentioned, so...
Everything is in the sky, basically.
Yeah, basically. The whole world is in the sky in this. And I will say, I really like it. I love the world of this. I'll explain it more later, but the world of this show I think is really interesting and cool. And it's a shame that it can't really be explored in the games, because the games have such a different world from this. So Sonic and Tails live in a little mountain of wrecked vehicles. And, like, the main house is a jumbo jet, but there's also... I paused it to look at all the vehicles, and there's, like, a train, there's a wooden ship, there's a couple of satellites, there's a rocket, there's a Ferris wheel, and there's the Starship Enterprise.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
Starship Enterprise is in there. Not the first direct reference to the Starship Enterprise in Sonic lore, by the way.
What?
You know, in Sonic 2, when you hop on one of the prison eggs after a boss, there's a little, like, explosion and something flies off of it.
Uh-huh.
I always thought that was just like a screw flying away or something. Apparently, it's a very tiny sprite of the Starship Enterprise.
What?
Yeah, I didn't find this out until years later. Decades later, even.
I love that they just love Star Trek.
Sonic Team are always throwing in blatant references to the things they love. It's really funny. But yeah, I really like this home for them. It's my favorite. Whenever they've given Sonic or Tails a home, this is my favorite of all of them.
It's pretty cute.
Yeah, you know how much I loved, like, ruined things that are being reclaimed by nature. So this is perfect for me. Give me more of this. Sonic is played by Masami Kikuchi, who played Tenchi in Tenchi Muyo. He played Joe in Digimon. He played PJ in Parappa the Rapper. Remember?
Which one was PJ?
PJ's his bear friend.
That's right.
Yeah, the lazy bear guy.
Yeah.
And he's the Japanese voice of Skeeter from Doug.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this is the only Japanese Sonic thing that I know of where Sonic wasn't played by Junichi Kanemaru. He started playing Sonic with Sonic Adventure and then plays him to this day and everything. Maybe he didn't. Maybe when they dubbed the live action movie, they might not have used him, but they've used him for everything else. In that time, Sonic's been through like 5 different English voices, but he's always kept the same Japanese one.
That's cool.
It's kind of weird seeing an anime where it's not him doing the voice.
This OVA be taking a lot of liberties.
It's extremely non-canon. It's so funny because the Twinbee one that we watched, it seemed like that one basically defined what Twinbee canon was, and then they kept using it afterwards. But, like, this was just disregarded.
This was just disrespectful.
I like it. I like this a lot. But it's, like, presenting a very different Sonic universe than what the games have, which is funny when Sonic Team were directly involved. And we'll get more into that when we get to the president's house.
Oh boy.
In English, Sonic is played by Martin Burke, who seems to be best known for this. He really didn't do much of anything else.
I mean, he achieved his dream of being the Sonic Hedgehog.
That's true. He's not great. It's a very nasal Sonic. I didn't really say anything about the guy who plays Eggman in the dub. He's good. He's fine. But the guy playing Sonic is like very nasal, and I don't think he's I don't think he has a natural American accent. I think he's putting one on. I'm not sure. But it sounds like some weird mix of like British American and Australian.
You know, it might have been easier if you just called to tell us that.
Anyway, Tails, who is also here. Tails is played by Hekiru Shiina, who we've talked about a couple times before, because she was Pastel in Twinbee. She was Celestia in Danganronpa.
Oh.
And she had a very, very small minor role in a little show called Magical Princess.
No!
Minky Momo.
No.
It was an extremely minor role. She played a character that's just called Girl, but if I can connect any show to Minky Momo, I'm going to do it.
You never went hunting for that video for me.
Oh, no, I did. I couldn't find it though.
Oh, yeah, I think it got taken down or something.
Yeah.
Or unlisted. I'm very sad about
The
it.
curse happened.
Probably. Minky Momo's taken down her opponents.
Because I think either I said this to you or I meant to, but all I could find about it were videos that were like 2 minutes long.
Yeah, same.
And I was like, that can't be it. It's only 2 minutes.
It was like a 20-minute video.
I've had sneezes longer than that.
Because I feel so strange overreacting to the mere name of Minky Momo every single time she comes up, but not being able to recall the lore behind it.
Wondering
So
if
like,
anyone knows
right.
what we're
So
talking about.
I was like, maybe I should refresh myself on what exactly happened with that cursed anime. But she's gone.
Yeah. It was something about the episode where she dies, wasn't it? It was something about that being tied to a real life death or something.
There were a couple things. But yeah, specifically...
For anyone who doesn't know, I think we've talked about this before, but Minky Momo is a show where the toy company that was sponsoring the show decided to pull out, and the show continued anyway, but the response the show's writers had to the sponsor pulling out was to kill Minky Momo off permanently by having her hit by a truck carrying dolls.
Didn't it have the name of the company that
It might have.
pulled out on it?
I can't remember.
And I think it was linked to an earthquake happening.
Something about that, yeah. The show continued, but it continued with like a new baby who's born and like grows up to become the new magical princess Minky Momo. So weird. I want to watch that show because it's written by the head writer of Pokemon and I really like his work. He wrote the first 3 Pokemon movies, which are all fantastic, so...
We should just have a Minky Momo viewing party.
We should. Do it in the Discord. Anyway, in English, Tails is played by Lainey Frazier, whose voice work in this I really did not like. She basically played Tails as though he had a cold the whole time.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a choice.
It's kind of annoying to listen to.
Sonic! I finally finished it! See, isn't it great? It's a jet-propelled bodyboard. Come on, you want to try it out?
She played Rain Devila in Wedding Peach. I don't know who that is. She played Chocobaba in Final Fantasy Unlimited. I'm assuming that's a kind of chocobo.
It sounds like it. It sounds like an old lady chocobo.
Funny you should say that, because she also played Granny Goodness in DC Universe Online, so maybe she's typecast as old ladies now.
This is what you get for being a stuffy nosed bitch.
And apparently she also played an Aurora unit in Metroid Prime 3. I never finished Metroid Prime 3, so I never met any Aurora units. But I believe, from what I saw of the marketing, that they were supposed to be implied to be the origin of Mother Brain. Like, Mother
Ooh.
Brain maybe was an Aurora unit at some point. I should really finish that game.
I can't stop thinking about Captain N Mother Brain.
I know. I mean,
She lives rent free in my head.
ever since we watched it, that's just been what you've been aspiring to, I thought.
Yeah?
Anyway, Sonic's relaxing by the beach, just chilling out. Tails has just finished making a jet-propelled bodyboard.
Yeah, this little 4-year-old baby boy.
Yeah. Well, he's established as being 8 at this point, but I found out recently that he was originally supposed to be 4.
What?
There's an episode of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog where he says he's 4 years old, but I always just thought that was like, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. At the time, I didn't realize it was quite the bastion of lost canon that it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw an interview that was printed in I think it was in an old EGM issue or something. It doesn't say exactly who the interview is with, it just says with the makers of Sonic 2. And they describe Tails as a 4-year-old fox who follows Sonic around.
And can build airplanes.
Yeah. So I guess he was supposed to be 4 at some point, but I'm pretty sure he'd been re-established as 8 by this point. But an 8-year-old building an airplane is still pretty cool.
Yeah. I can't build an airplane, and I'm like at least twice that old.
There's a meme going around right now where it's like this sculpture, this like carving of Greek figures or something, and it says, the artist carved this when they were only 23. What's your excuse? And I just I'm just gonna post a picture of the tornado and be like, the mechanic built this when they were only 8. What's your excuse?
And he's a fox.
So Sonic just wants to relax and listen to some music. And every time Tails passes by on his bodyboard, he splashes Sonic with it.
I loved it. It was great.
It's very cute. The animation's adorable. Tails looks so cute in this. And Sonic looks great too. I don't want to sell him short. He's looking real rad here. I'm going to say this isn't the best that classic Sonic has ever looked. I still think I prefer the Sonic CD opening over this. But this is pretty close to being the best.
I have no opinion.
You have no opinion?
No, none at all. I can't. I feel like I'm out of your league when it comes to this particular subject.
Have you seen the Sonic Mania shorts? I know I sent them to you at some point, but I don't know if you watched them.
I've seen some of them. I don't know. I can't remember if I watched them all.
Those are pretty cute too.
Those are very cute.
So Old Man Owl comes crashing through like a maniac. I thought this was really funny. He just crashes right through Sonic's deck chair. And then he's just like, "Hey, Sonic!"
He didn't even know that his plane was on fire.
No, his plane is on fire, and he's just like waving. He's like, "Hey guys, how are you doing?"
Meanwhile, Tails is losing his mind.
Yeah, Sonic has no interest in this old man and his problems.
No.
Tails is like, "We need to help him," and Sonic's like, "You can fly, you help."
Until they almost run into a cliff, and then he decides to get up.
Old Man Owl is played by somebody called Chafurin.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's the stage name. Because that's all it is. There's no last name. And this is not his last time being involved with the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. He is also the voice of Zomom, a member of the Deadly Six, who most people don't like. Those are the 6 I wanted to say 5, but they're literally called the Deadly Six. He's a member of the 6 characters that were added in Sonic Lost World, which is my personal least favorite story in the whole series.
Oh, okay. Story. I was gonna say, what about that one where you're trapped in a barrel, like Sonic in the Secret Rings or something?
Oh, it wasn't a barrel. It was a vase with wings.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, if you'd said a vase with wings, I would have known what you were talking about. Yeah, no, Sonic and the Secret Rings is probably my least favorite gameplay-wise, at least of like the main games. Lost World, it has such a terrible story that goes nowhere and makes no sense.
Cool.
It like actively contradicts its own stuff. Like for the whole game, Tails is being a little prick and is being like really overconfident. And then there's a point. So he spends the whole game mad that Sonic is listening to Eggman over him, even though I don't think Sonic's doing that. And then there's a point in the game where Tails tries to modify Cubot by putting his head on a crab meat body and almost gets killed, and Eggman saves him. And I was like, okay, so this is the point in the story where Tails starts realizing that his hubris is gonna get them all killed. But then at the end of the game, Sonic's just like, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you, Tails. Obviously, you're always right. And Tails is like, at least you finally realized it. And I'm like, Tails, you nearly got everyone killed earlier. Anyway, I could make a whole video about my problems with Lost World. There's a lot of issues in the story.
You say that about a lot of Sonics, and I'm waiting for those videos.
Maybe I'll do them someday. It's hard. It's so much harder to do a video when you're not talking to somebody, you know?
Yeah.
When you're just reading a script. I don't know. I find that more difficult. So anyway, Chafurin also played Juzo Megure in Case Closed, Charlos in One Piece, and has showed up in a lot of big name anime like Dragon Ball and Cowboy Bebop and stuff.
I mean, you have to have a name like that. You gotta have some weight behind it.
Yeah, you do. In English, he's played by Charles Campbell, who was the dubbing company's ADR director. He played Gran Torino in My Hero Academia. He played Gilgamesh in the Tower of Druaga anime. And he played Kane, Zeni, Kogi, Banban, and Fujitora in One Piece. I don't know who any of them are.
Nope.
I don't know who any of those characters are, but I listed some ones I thought someone might know. The ship crashes through the relaxing Sonic a second time. And it's the exact same animation reused for the second time, so I'm assuming they would just like a little low on runtime and they put it in again to pad it out.
Mm-hmm.
So Tails manages to stabilize the ship by just kind of landing on the wing of it.
He's just standing on it.
He hasn't done anything about the fire.
What's he gonna do? He didn't bring anything with him.
I know, but when he first goes up there and he's reaching for it, he's like, maybe I can fix it for you. But he doesn't do anything to fix it.
I guess he deduced that no, he can't actually.
This is all I can do. But then they just kind of calm down for a second, even though they are not safe.
Yeah, they're real chill about it.
Tails points out that they're heading right for a cliff wall, and that old man Owl is just like, what do you mean? And like adjusts his glasses. I kind of think this guy should have his license revoked.
Yeah. I don't think you're allowed to fly if you can't see.
No.
I think they're pretty strict about that.
His calm attitude just really got me, though. Just like... But anyway, Tails calls out for Sonic, and now that it's serious, Sonic gets into action. I kind of like how, kind of throughout this whole thing, Sonic is like very chill about everything until things get serious, and then he gets serious. And that's very Sonic. That's very... I think the characterization of these characters is spot on, even if they're not existing in the kind of world they usually do.
Mm-hmm.
They at least knew how to write the characters. I'm assuming that probably has a lot to do with the supervising influence of Sonic Team.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they didn't have much to say about the world of the show, they probably had a lot to say about how the characters act.
You can make up whatever you want, but this is how Sonic do.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you're going to have to cut out the scene at the beginning where Sonic swims around.
You're going to have to say at least twice that Sonic can't swim.
Yeah, they really do hammer it home, don't they? And it's funny because I do think it wasn't super common knowledge at this point. I already knew it because I was a huge Sonic nerd.
Was.
Yeah, I mean, I already was. But I feel like a lot of fans, even to this day, I think there are still fans who don't know that Sonic can't swim, which is wild because I feel like it gets brought up constantly now. One of my favorite things ever is that in the Olympic Games, if you choose Sonic for a swimming event, he just has water wings on and runs in the water.
That's cute.
It's really funny. So Sonic does some cool action things and he saves them. He runs along the wall. It was kind of nicely animated, but we'll get some much nicer animated Sonic action later on. And then they're just kind of sitting back near the beach and the old man is in shock. Like, he's just unresponsive and they're like, hey old man. And I'm like, maybe
I
call
don't
a
know that he's in
hospital.
shock, though. I feel like he's just confused
Oh, maybe.
to be alive.
You didn't save my life, Sonic. You ruined my death.
Going out in a blaze of glory.
It's the way I've always wanted, taking an 8-year-old with me.
He knew what he signed up for.
Sonic uses, like, it looks like a miniature crab meat, right?
Yeah.
It's a teeny tiny little crab meat. Like, I was thinking maybe it's just supposed to be a crab, but it definitely has a metal plate on the front of it. Or it seems to, at least. So that made me start wondering, like, are the badniks just existing peacefully as fauna in the world of this show? Because it wasn't trying to
Why
kill
not?
them.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I guess why not? We don't see any other animals. Maybe they just have robots instead.
We just see the best animal. Crab meat.
Crab meat. Then once they snap the old man out of his trance, he starts talking to flowers that vaguely look like Sonic that are all around them. And I thought this conversation was really funny. There's a part where he's trying to remember what he came for because he doesn't remember what he came to give them a message, but he doesn't remember what it was. And there's a part where he does like he's like and it really made me laugh. Oh, I loved it. It was really good. And then Sonic's the one who tells him why he came.
Oh yeah, he knew. It was about the president.
Yeah. And he says that he could have just called and told them that. Which would have made more sense, I guess.
Yeah, but then he wouldn't have had a chance to go out in a blaze of glory.
That's true. He's just been trying to kill them this whole time. He wants to get off this world and he wants to take Sonic and Tails with him if possible. That's why he kept crashing into Sonic's beach chair.
It's a slow and awkward way to take him out, but the man knows best.
He's been doing this for a long time.
You're right.
This is where the tornado shows up.
Yeah.
It's the first time the tornado has ever shown up in an animated Sonic show.
Really?
Yeah. And it looks really good. I love the tornado. I'm a big fan of the tornado.
My favorite Sonic character is the tornado.
Yeah. There have been a lot of different tornadoes and a couple of different designs of this tornado even, but the one they've used here is my favorite. And this seems to be the design they're using now as standard ever since Sonic Lost World. As much as I don't like that game, it at least brought back the original tornado.
If it can only do one good thing, let it be that.
Yeah, because this tornado, right from when it was introduced, it had two different designs. Because it looked like this in the game, in Sonic 2, but then in the manual it had a completely different, more kind of toy-looking look.
Mm-hmm.
And in Sonic Adventure, it's the manual design that they chose to use with the more toy-looking one. And I was so disappointed because this is the better design. But they kept that other design around for ages. And then they finally realized that they were wrong and they brought back this one.
Maybe the thought behind it was this was built by an infant fox.
Maybe.
Maybe it's a big toy.
Maybe. But I prefer this one that looks more like a real plane.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, I don't think Tails did build this one. I think he built the Tornado too, but I think this one Sonic already had before he met Tails.
Sonic just had a plane?
Yeah, he just had a plane. Yes, he did. Yeah, so this is Sonic's plane. He already had it. And this is basically what Sonic and Tails bonded over. Because Tails saw this plane on the beach and ran over to it, and Sonic was sleeping on the wings.
What is Sonic the Hedgehog?
I don't know. Maybe he was given this plane as a gift for saving South Island or something. Maybe someday we'll get the origin of the tornado. Anyway, a runway folds out of the island. A very complicated runway. Did Tails build this? I don't know.
Let's say yes.
It's very fancy. It's very Thunderbirds. He has kind of a similar thing in Sonic Adventure. Tails has this like fold out runway, but it's not quite as advanced as this one is. It doesn't have a slingshot mechanic to catapult the plane into the air like this one does.
They just couldn't afford it.
Like, they don't even have to worry about the runway. They just slingshot the plane into the sky. Also, I laughed at the old man waving in the wrong direction. Just standing with his back to them, waving at nothing.
Waving into the trees.
Sonic asks the old man to look after their home while they're gone, which seems like a bad idea.
He can't even look after himself.
And that's it. That's all we're going to see of Old Man Al for this episode.
Does he come back in the next one?
Oh, he's in the next one. You better believe it. His most famous scene is in the second episode. So,
He has a most famous scene?
yeah, he does. The one where he puts on Sonic's clothes.
Oh, I think I know what that is.
I think you do too. You've seen the artwork people have drawn of Sonic wearing his favorite clothes, right? I'm sure I've shown it to you.
Hold on. So I have had this image saved on my computer for 100,000 years, and I kept thinking about it the entire time I was watching this. I was like, it looks a lot like this piece of artwork that I just sent on your phone.
Yep, there he is. That's him.
Good.
That's him
So
wearing.
I'm not crazy.
That's him wearing Sonic's favorite clothes, apparently.
I love it.
We'll see that whenever we come back to this.
Good.
So now we go to some kind of fancy future city, which is also on a floating island.
Everything floats
Yeah,
except for Eggman Land.
I guess Pennywise was right.
Yeah, we all float down here.
And we are now at the White House.
Yeah, I thought that was a strange choice.
Yeah.
Like, I get that he's the president, but you don't have to put him in a White House.
I think the White House has just become universal shorthand for this is where the president lives.
I guess so.
Worldwide. So you don't have to be in America. You know what the White House is.
If you got a prime minister, you can't put him in a White House. That's where the president lives.
But his office looks more like the office of like a church because it's got stained glass windows at the back and stuff. But that's not the president at the desk. That's Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Robotnik!
Yeah. He immediately... Sonic and Tails come in, and he immediately turns around and he's like, kill them! Even though he's summoned them there to ask them for something.
Right!
I think it's just force of habit.
Yeah.
But so yeah, some robots attack and Sonic and Tails easily defeat them. And they poof away in like a funny pink smoke cloud, which didn't seem Sonic appropriate to me. It felt Twinbee appropriate.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it felt like something that would happen in Twinbee, but it didn't feel right for Sonic. It was a bit weird.
The canon in this Sonic OVA is not very good. The robots poop away in pink.
It's only these two robots. There's no other robot in the whole thing that does that.
Maybe they were designed to poof away in pink.
Also, couldn't help thinking that these robots really don't look like Eggman robots.
No.
They look kind of like henchmen of Maleficent, but robots.
But robots.
Shut up. I think the weird thing is, I think they would have looked like Eggman robots if they just colored them differently.
Mm-hmm.
If they just made them like red and yellow or something. But they're all these weird, like grayish browns. They're all poopy brown.
But robots.
Poopy brown kind of sounds like a musician.
That can be your new handle.
Oh, Poopy Brown?
You can put your songs on Spotify as Poopy Brown.
That's my blues handle. That's my stage name when I'm playing the blues.
I'm always playing the blues.
I'm usually playing the Browns. But I don't go by Poopy Brown when I'm playing the Browns. Anyway, this got away from us. Yeah, Sonic goes to attack Eggman and the president stops him. And at this point, it's like, I tried to kill you, but I need your help. I thought it was weird.
You know what I thought was weird?
With the president's daughter?
The president's daughter! Why does he have a Neko Musume?
I have some things to say about that. But first let's talk about the president, because he doesn't get off easy here either. Because he's a funny elf man in a military dress uniform. Why is he a funny elf man? Like, he's got pointy ears.
I don't know, because he's not like other presidents.
There's nothing in the history of the Sonic franchise like this man.
What about a cat girl?
Oh, we'll get to it. First, let's talk about the voices. The president is played by Yuzuru Fujimoto, who's done lots of things, mostly stuff I haven't seen. He was the voice of Mushin in Inuyasha. He played Kenneth Baker in Metal Gear Solid. I'm pretty sure that's the guy who has a heart attack after talking to you about weapons development or something. Or no, it's not a heart attack, it's a fox die attack, but it looks like a heart attack.
Oh.
He's also apparently been the Japanese dubbing voice for a lot of James Earl Jones roles.
Okay.
He was also the Japanese voice of Rufus in Bill and Ted, Admiral Akbar in Star Wars, and Monterey Jack in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. So Admiral Akbar is it's a trap guy, right?
It's a trap!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So he's the Japanese voice of the It's a Trap meme.
I love that for him.
In English, the president is played by Edwin Neal again. That's the same guy who's playing Eggman. So he's just yelling at himself in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Sarah, the president's daughter, who is played by Mika Kanai, who is known for playing Floren in the Moomin anime, Yadamon in Yadamon, Vanilla H in Galaxy Angel, Mimit or Mime in Sailor Moon. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's one of those. But we probably best know her as Jigglypuff, Marill, Chikorita, and Emolga in Pokemon.
All the good ones.
And she was also the voice of Sunny Funny in the Parappa anime as well. In English, she's played by Sasha Biesi. Biesi? I'm unsure. She only did this, basically.
Cool.
She was probably the girlfriend of someone on the staff. That wouldn't be the first time. I know in Sonic Adventure, Tikal was played by the girlfriend of the sound engineer, I think.
We just need a woman.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Okay, so Sarah is, yes, just a human girl with cat ears and a tail, basically. For the longest time, I thought that this was as out of place as the president was. That she was the only thing that existed like this in the Sonic canon.
Uh-huh.
But recently, I found the Sonic the Hedgehog story comic. It's a manga that Sega released in 1991 to promote the first game. And it's just a short shonen action manga. It's very standard shonen stuff, you know? The villain shows up, the hero fights him, it's got some funny, quippy comedy in there. The end.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got a bunch of concepts from Sonic 1 that didn't make it into the game, like Sonic's band, which makes it the first published appearance of Vector as well. Because Vector's in there.
That. Yeah.
And the girls watching the band play, the audience watching the band play, is like a bunch of the animals that come out of the robots in Sonic 1, and a bunch of girls who are human girls with animal ears and tails. I didn't see a cat one like Sarah is, but there was like a bunny ones and a couple of others. And they look just like Sarah. So
Okay.
I'm wondering if the people who made this OVA had that manga as reference and were like, okay, so this is what women look like in Sonic.
The men are all elf people, but the women, cat girls.
It's very funny. But I do not like Sarah very much, and I think there's no excuse for this OVA not having Amy in it.
Yeah, why was Amy not in it?
It's weird, because the only reason I could think of would be like she didn't exist yet. But she did. She's older than Tails. She was in the manga before Tails existed. And then she made it into the games at the same time as Metal Sonic did, who is here, so...
Amy doesn't have the same appeal as a cat girl.
I mean, I guess she doesn't have the sex appeal. There's one thing Amy's got in teaspoons.
In just pinches.
Yeah, although some would disagree with me, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I've been to the internet.
I mean, one of the first things I ever saw on Google was Sonic porn. I literally just typed in the word Sonic and the first image result was pornography.
How old were you?
I don't know. How long's Google was new, so... Or maybe it wasn't new. It was my first time using it. 1998? Yeah, that sounds about right.
So you would have been 12?
Wait, it was an image search. I think they added image search later. Okay, 2001. Yeah, that sounds right too. Okay, so it would have been 2001 probably.
Oh, so that's not as shocking as I had initially believed.
So what was I in 2001? Like
15?
15? Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. That does sound about right. Yeah, I read recently that they added image search specifically in response to so many people trying to find pictures of Jennifer Lopez's dress that she wore at some event.
How weird.
Yeah, she wore this, I guess, quite revealing green dress, and so many people were looking for pictures of it that they had to add Google image search to cater to it. Yeah, here's the picture that people were looking for.
Okay.
It's quite...
Yeah, you can see a lot of her body.
I can see why that's 2001 scandalous.
I guess, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you're right. 2001 scandalous. I'm looking at it like, okay.
Yeah, you're looking at it from a post RuPaul world.
We've all seen naked women and drag queens.
So Tails thinks Eggman's planning to ransom the president and Sarah so he can take over South Island. And Eggman says, "Do you think I'd do something that underhanded?" And all of his robots say yes. So he falls down.
Yeah, nobody believes this plot.
Yeah. It's funny, like, we've seen the whole episode, so we know that this is a ruse that Eggman's doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how, like, nobody buys it, but they go along with it anyway. They go along with it just in case.
Well, doesn't Sonic say, like, Eggman lies 99% of the time, and Tails is like, but what if this is the 1% that he isn't?
Yeah. I think Tails has the most trust in Eggman of anyone in this. I guess the president is very, like, believing of the whole story.
Oh, yeah, I guess. He seemed like he bought into it a lot.
Yeah. So Eggman explains. First, he explains the setup of Planet Freedom, which is the name of the planet that this OVA takes place on. The games take place on Earth. But I really like Planet Freedom. I think it's a really interesting idea. So, the surface of the planet is known as the Land of Darkness. It's a bit confusing the way they word it because they talk about it like it's two
Another
different dimensions.
dimension?
Yeah, they describe it like it's another dimension, but it's not supposed to be literally another dimension. It's the surface of the planet is known as the Land of Darkness and is mostly just a abandoned ruin world where only Eggman and his robots live. And everybody else lives above the clouds in the land of the sky.
To get away from Eggman.
Which is a series of floating islands miles above the surface. In the second episode, it's explained that those islands are connected to the planet by a network of glaciers, but that's not mentioned yet.
Okay.
And Eggman says that a man known as Black Eggman has arrived. Yeah, they changed that name for the English version.
Yes, the name is not great, but also just the idea that this evil stranger came from the darkness and has same name,
Yeah.
but with something dark and spooky tacked on the beginning.
Where could he have come from? Who could have birthed this man? Anyway, yeah, Black Eggman arrived one day with more sophisticated robots than Eggman's and drove him and all of his robots out of Eggman Land. And then Black Eggman jammed the egg generator, which powers Eggman Land. And if the generator isn't fixed by sunset, it will explode.
For reasons we can't comprehend.
For reasons that don't matter.
Because Eggman said so.
Yeah, because it's all a lie anyway.
Shh, they don't know that yet.
So Eggman needs Sonic to get in and shut off the generator because he's the only one fast enough. Or he doesn't even say he's the only one fast enough, does he? He just says, like, this is a problem and the fastest person should solve it.
Yeah. Well, because they're short on time.
I guess so. He doesn't say he couldn't do it. He just kind of implies that
He won't.
that Sonic should do it because he's faster. I guess that's on brand for Eggman, though. He wouldn't admit that he couldn't. He would just be like, I don't want to. You should do it.
Don't you want to prove that you're the goodest good?
I could do that, but I don't want to. I guess we do know that Eggman is faster than Sonic.
We do know that?
Yeah, remember in the Death Egg in Sonic 2 when you chase it?
It's canon.
The President and Sarah beg Sonic to help Eggman. And Sonic seems to, like, respond to Sarah's advances, which I don't like.
I was not comfortable with it. She seemed to imply that they were already a thing.
She sure did. Did we learn nothing from Princess Elise? Well, I guess this was like 10 years before then, but still.
So I'm going to say no.
Did we learn nothing from this when they made Elise?
Well, Elise wasn't a cat girl.
That's true. She was just a straight up girl.
They thought it would be less weird if it was just a human girl.
It's okay because she's got ears and a tail. I mean, Sonic was going to have a human girlfriend in Sonic 1 at some point.
Wasn't her name Madonna?
Yeah, her name was Madonna, yeah. I knew we'd talked about it before. So Eggman gives Tails a funky watch. I thought that was pretty cute. It's like Eggman's face, and then you press a button on it, and it folds out into some kind of tracking beacon.
It tells you how to get to Eggman Land
Yeah,
via the most inconvenient route.
which is funny because wouldn't Sonic and Tails have been there before?
Clearly not.
I guess that he
The
probably.
fact that there's an entire underground city that they are wowed by.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe Eggman usually comes to them to visit.
Yeah, he goes to their house to play Sega.
Speaking of playing Sega, I really like the scene with Sarah and Eggman playing a fighting game that has them in it as characters.
And yet they weren't in Sonic the Fighters.
No, and that was the next game that was going to come out. I wonder if that was... I never thought about it, but I wonder if there was some, the next game we're doing is going to be a fighting game, so can you put a fighting game in here? Probably not, but, I love the animation of Eggman just picking her up and suplexing her.
I wish he would have done it in real life.
Me too. She's kind of annoying, huh?
She's very annoying.
She keeps screaming. I mean, she's screaming about that she lost. She's crying about it. But then she wants to play again. And then, this is interspersed with footage of Sonic and Tails just standing on the tornado. No, Sonic's standing on the tornado. Tails is flying it.
Who's flying this thing?
And there's just, nothing happening. It's just a very still shot of them in the air. And then it goes back. And we see the same footage again of Eggman suplexing her. So again, I think this was them, padding it out a little bit with some repeated footage.
Because she's just mad that he keeps beating her, and she threatens to stop being his hostage, as if that's something she could just stop being at any given point in time.
I mean, he seems to go along with the idea. Yeah, it sure sounds like she's just chosen this. But then she said, once she's done with the game, she says she wants to go for a drive. And a big mecha just appears, just bursts through the wall.
Yeah, unprompted.
Yeah, and then Sarah and Eggman jump in it and leave while the president calls out for them. It's weird.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
And then we head back to Sonic and Tails, who are busy crashing a plane. So that's the thing, it sure makes it sound like it's a portal to the land of darkness that they're flying into, but it is just a hole in the clouds.
Yeah. It's a whole other dimension, but it's not. It's very weird.
Yeah, I think it's just worded weird. I wonder if it's a translation thing.
Maybe.
Maybe, there's a Japanese word that can mean dimension, but can also just mean, this is another place.
But could also just mean downstairs.
This is probably my favorite scene in the movie. This action scene of Sonic and Tails racing through the landscape.
It's pretty cool.
It's also where all the badniks appear.
Yeah. It also made me start thinking about how weird it is, just the spike traps at random.
Yeah.
That is a choice that Eggman has made.
Yeah, not even just Eggman. There are just cities in Sonic's world that have spike traps for some reason.
I hate when I go into the city and I step into a spike trap.
Do you think it's like the Sonic world's equivalent of speed bumps? It's like, oh, this is a one-way road, so... Oh, no, you got to make sure you're driving fast enough on the road. So to make sure you're going fast enough, this spike trap will stay down just long enough for your car to pass over at the right speed. If you're going too slow, your tires are going to get popped. So make sure you're going fast enough. Your car will never maintain its traction on the loop if you're not going fast enough.
The loop! That's why traffic around the city is so terrible, because somebody's fallen off the loop again.
We see Buzz Bombers, my personal favorite Sonic Badnik.
I mean, you're wrong, but
What's the best
you're
one?
allowed to be wrong. Crab meat.
Crab meat's fine. He's fine. Buzz Bomber's the best one.
No. I bet crab meat could beat Buzz Bomber in a duel.
We should contact the Death Battle people. I don't know, because crab meat, he does fire 2 pellets at once. 2 energy balls at once. But Buzz Bomber has the speed. He could dodge it.
But crab meat's a crab.
That's true. Can Buzz Bomber even get through that exterior shell? That he also has the same exterior shell. Because they're both robots.
But one of them's a crab robot.
That's true. We also see Crawlton here from Mystic Cave Zone, but he's colored like a caterpillar.
Yeah.
Because they're usually blue, but this one's pink. I like it. He's so long as well. He's a long boy.
Yeah, it reminded me of those horrible things in Terraria.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I see it. But yeah, these robots don't poof away into pink smoke. They actually like smash into pieces, and the animation's really cool, and I like it.
And yet no small animal friends came out.
No, I guess they didn't. There's the one downside. If only they'd had some flickies pop out, it would have been perfect. So, when Sonic starts running real fast, because there's a warp zone coming up, he does his figure 8 legs from Sonic CD.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that. That's become a standard thing now. He always does that in everything now.
His legs turn into a figure 8.
Yeah, the figure 8 run is way better than when it's just a circle, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like when his running feet just turn into a circle, it's fine. But if you think too much about it like I do, it doesn't make physical sense.
Where do leg go?
Yeah. And the figure 8 one doesn't either, but it feels more like it does. So I'm okay with it. They go through a warp zone, because that's the thing.
Yeah. They go to the special zone to get a Chaos Emerald.
Yeah, I guess that's the closest equivalent. Though apparently special zones aren't canon.
That's just Sonic doing mushrooms?
Yeah, I guess so. That's just like, they were just like, that's just a mini game. That's just a gameplay thing. But in the canon of Sonic the Hedgehog, the special stage is not a real place. Just kind of a shame.
Now I just imagine Sonic in therapy, and the therapist is like, Sonic, special stage is not a real place. When are you going to come to terms with that?
All of the red spheres are in your mind, Sonic.
Tails is not losing all of your rings by running into the spikes. The world is not spinning upside down, increasingly faster and faster.
No, the birds are not turning into fish.
What are special stages?
I don't know. I really liked what the comics did. I don't know about what the Archie comics did, but in the British comics, the special stage was this alternate dimension where there were no like rules of physics or logic.
Mm-hmm.
Team Chaotix were natives of the special zone in that comic.
That's fun.
Yeah, so they were a superhero team in the special zone in this world of weird, wacky madness, and it was fun. I mush-mouthed a lot of that, so I hope I can chop it into a conceivable sentence. So they come through the portal, and now they're in a ruined city that looks like New York. It's got some distinctive New York landmarks in it.
And yet we're not on Earth.
No, well, I think this is implying that Planet Freedom is Earth, but it's in like a distant post-apocalypse.
Oh, after we all get turned into animal people.
Yeah, after we all grow cat ears and tails.
Yeah, or turn into hedgehogs.
Because Tails says that this city is the ancient ruins. So they're super ancient, I guess. And then Sonic notices the ruins are sinking into the ocean. And based on nothing, Tails says it must be because the egg generator is out of control, causing underground tremors.
Right, even though we haven't seen an underground tremor,
No,
and we have no reason to believe it. That's not just what is happening here.
And we also already know that the story about the egg generator is not true.
Yes, that as well.
But Black Eggman arrives, being creepy.
Yeah, he comes shrouded in storm.
He is just a big old robot draped in a cape. In both versions, he's played by the same guy who plays Eggman, because that's who it is. Let's not beat around the bush. It's just Eggman.
Why would you spoil it like that?
it's so obvious. And like the moment he opens his cape, we can also see that this is the mech that Sarah and Eggman got into earlier.
Yep.
It's very clear.
It's very dumb. The good kind.
Yeah. They do a fight. It's fun. It's nicely animated. It was cute. Sonic and Tails tease him a bit to get him to punch himself in the face and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Me too.
They decide they're just going to leave. Sonic wants to get on with it and wants to leave Black Eggman behind. But because he can't resist taunting him on the way out, he kind of screws them over because Black Eggman reveals he has a big pair of wings and a jetpack.
Yeah, they're very shocked by the fact that it can fly.
Yeah, it just chases him down the highway for a while.
It was fun.
It was, and very well animated.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of
He's
those...
shooting a bunch of rockets at him.
Yeah, it's one of those where the characters are like static on the screen, but the road is passing by, which means someone spent a long time drawing a moving background. Which I have a lot of respect for anyone who draws a moving background, because it's hard to do and it's tedious to do.
And I would never.
Because, you can just paint a long background and have the camera scroll, but this is one where they couldn't do that because the camera's moving into the background. So you have to draw that whole background frame by frame.
Mm-mm.
At least
I don't have
back
to do
in these
anything.
days. No, you don't have to. I wouldn't make you. I'll have to do it. Sonic and Tails start to pull ahead because they are still faster than Black Eggman is. But he goes and just blows up the road ahead of him. Black Eggman has him cornered against a steep drop to the ocean. And he says that since neither of them can swim, they'll drown in the ocean below. But Tails can swim, though.
Yeah.
I thought about it and I was like, maybe they hadn't established that Tails could swim yet, but they had. Sonic 3 was out.
Maybe they just assume because he's a small baby or something.
Yeah. Maybe they were like, he's Tails Mini, so he probably can't do anything that Tails
Maxie can do.
Yeah, I screwed that up. I realized I stopped when I was like, that's Sonic, I mean. Sonic and Tails fall off the highway, and they grab a broken part of it and pretend to drown.
You can tell that he's drowning because he says, gurgle, gurgle, gurgle.
Yeah. And then Black Eggman is like, haha, I guess they drowned, and leaves. But then Sonic and Tails try to sneak away. And it turns out that he just knew the whole time. He was just watching.
Yeah. He immediately peeks over the edge of the ruined highway like, oh, no, I knew.
Well, it's because they're sneaking away and there's a crash of lightning. And Tails is afraid of lightning, as was established earlier. So Tails screams. And then he's like, aha! Though they changed that for the dub. In the dub, instead, Tails screams because Metal Robotnik, as he's called in the dub, says, I can see you! So this is the part where Black Eggman sits on the side of the highway and shoots poop goop from his butt.
Yes, he sure did that.
From his butt!
From his butt, like all the other things he was shooting from appropriate places.
You could argue this is an appropriate place. for the poop goop.
You're an appropriate place for poop goop.
You always say that, and it's always true.
It's never not been true.
So Tails gets poop gooped to a fence and is stuck there. And Sonic gets exploded by some giant missile explosions. And in the distance, we see new character Knuckles.
Wearing his hat.
Wearing a cool hat.
I love Hat Knuckles. He's my favorite character.
Me too. This was the origin of it. You know that, right?
I assumed.
Yeah, this was the first appearance of Hat Knuckles. He's become a big thing. Although, you know, if this was written by Ken Penders, that hat is how you would know that wasn't Knuckles.
The one thing to distinguish him from the other Knuckles is.
Yeah, that hat would signify that this is actually Knuckles' third cousin Esteban.
That's how you know that you're dealing with Sleuth Doggy Dog.
Don't bring him into this. So Black Eggman thinks Sonic is dead, but instead Sonic is riding one of the missiles.
Right back at him.
Yeah, and he comes and sends it back at him. However, he gets poop gooped to the ground when he lands.
Somehow.
I guess there was just some stray poop goop there.
There's stray poop goop everywhere. It's the Deus Ex Machina of this episode.
It sure is. And then it starts raining. And then Black Eggman's like limping through the rain because he's damaged now. And it was actually pretty creepy. This had a similar vibe to, you know, the scene in Big Hero 6 where Baymax has his chip removed and he gets all scary. And then he's just like lumbering through the darkness with glowing red eyes. I love that scene. Baymax gets real creepy there.
I have seen Big Hero 6, but I put that word in quotation marks.
Okay. You mean, so it was on?
Yes.
Is what you mean. As he's stepping forward, he cracks the road and the spot Sonic is stuck to sinks into the water. I'm not sure if it like sinks into water that's already there or if it just fills up with rain. But either way, the effect is the same.
Either way, it's wet.
Yeah, and Sonic's stuck in the underwaters now. And he's just about to finish Sonic off, but then Knuckles shows up and pops up right underneath him and knocks him down. Knuckles is awesome.
Knuckles is a cool dude.
I'm glad they just let Knuckles be cool in this.
Instead of a big dumb dummy?
Yeah, he gets relegated to comic relief a lot. And I like comic relief Knuckles, but I also like it when Knuckles gets to be a badass as well.
Mm-hmm.
He can be funny and a badass. He doesn't have to be one or the other. So in both versions, in both the English and the Japanese version, Knuckles is the most accomplished actor in this show. In Japanese, Knuckles is played by Yasunori Matsumoto, who played... I don't know if it's Gene Havoc or Jean Havoc. It's one of those in Full Metal Alchemist. I've only read Full Metal Alchemist. I haven't seen the show, so I don't know what the pronunciations are. He played Toya in Yu Yu Hakusho. He played Nobita's dad in Doraemon. He played Jackie in Virtua Fighter. He played Goemon in the Goemon anime. He is Beastman in the F-Zero anime. And I wrote this one down for you because we talked about Paranoia Agent recently.
Mm-hmm.
He plays Zebra in that. Do you know who that is?
Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I don't remember any of the names.
Okay. Well, he was in it.
Paranoia Agent's a weird anime with a lot of characters.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I should watch it. I need to watch more anime in general. He's also done a bunch of dubbing voices. He is Hercules in Kingdom Hearts. He's the Japanese voice of Dick Grayson in the Batman animated series. That's the first Robin.
I know.
He becomes Nightwing later.
He becomes the Nightman.
Night Trap. And he also played Bob in Reboot. That's the main character for anyone who doesn't know Reboot. And in English, he's played by Bill Wise, who hasn't done a huge amount of stuff, but he did play the screenslaver in Incredibles 2, which I was surprised by. And he also played, apparently he played Martin Roberts in iZombie, and he was in Prison Break and Red vs. Blue at some point.
Red versus Blue?
Yeah, Red vs. Blue. The Rooster Teeth
right.
series. Knuckles just kind of floats around weirdly in this.
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't get it. He flies.
I'm assuming that this was a miscommunication about how his gliding works.
Mm-hmm.
It's corrected in episode 2. In episode 2, he glides like Knuckles normally does.
Okay.
But in this one, we just have to enjoy him floating around like
Yeah.
Superman.
Like a Toho.
Yeah. It's very bizarre. But Knuckles frees Tails, but Tails' tails are still stuck together, so he can't fly. But he uses the bodyboarding skills that got foreshadowed earlier to get across.
The bodyboarding skills that saved the owl.
Oh yeah, they didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
He can't fly because his tails are stuck together, but I'm pretty sure he still uses his tails as a propeller when he's
He sure did.
going
And I
across
had
the
that
water.
same thought.
Okay.
I was like, is it just acting as one? Is that how he can get away with it?
I don't think so. I think they forgot immediately. So Tails goes to try and pull Sonic out of the water while Knuckles fights Black Eggman. But just when it looks like Knuckles is finished, Sonic gets free, seemingly on his own. Like, it doesn't look like Tails was responsible for that.
No. He just
And-
maybe bought him a couple more seconds of air.
Yeah. But Black Eggman is holding Knuckles in his hand, and Sonic uses his US cartoon buzzsaw powers to chop the hand off.
I loved it. I made a mental note of that. I was like, the buzzsaw is real.
It's real. It's Japan canon too now. When's it going to show up in a game? It's been too long.
It would break the game. It's too powerful.
It is too... Actually, I guess it kind of... One of Sonic's wisp abilities in Sonic Colors is basically this, now that I think about it. The only difference... Yeah, the only difference is that he turns pink when he's doing it. Black Eggman tries to escape, but Knuckles throws Sonic into the air, and he smashes right through him, and then Tails catches him at the other end and throws him back the other way, and he smashes through him again.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It sure does. This is Sonic Heroes before Sonic Heroes. When Black Eggman crashes, it's like, I guess, far away from where Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are, so they don't see this. So it's not revealed to them. But it's revealed to us that Eggman and Sarah are both inside Black Eggman and have been the whole time.
What? That's a twist I never saw coming.
Which, if Eggman was doing all of this, really implies that Sarah just was not doing anything to try and stop him.
He's complicit.
Yeah. She's an accomplice at this point. Or at least
Like,
an accessory.
Yeah, Eggman is given full-blown soliloquies, and she isn't a little suspicious about that from the cockpit?
No. She does hit him over the head at the end here. But anyway, Sonic and Tails say goodbye to Knuckles. And he says, this is one more job I won't get paid for, but we've been friends for a while, so I'll put it on your tab and you can pay me next time. Which sounds like a Vector line.
Well, he's a treasure hunter now.
He's a treasure hunter always.
He's a treasure hunter for realsies now.
Now, this is more like a bounty hunter than a treasure hunter.
Bounties are treasures.
Like, Knuckles is always a treasure hunter, but he's never getting paid for jobs. That's Vector's thing. Vector's the one who wants to get paid. And you know, Vector did exist. This is just one more thing that's making me mad that Vector's not in this movie.
Yeah, Vector's older than Knuckles.
Vector's like... The only characters who are older than Vector are Sonic and Eggman, who are just as old as Vector. And Mugdana. Actually, I guess the only character who's older than Vector is Flicky. Because Flicky had his own game like 3 years before Sonic. So yeah, I guess this version of Knuckles is more of a traveling bounty hunter rather than the guardian of Angel Island. Because Angel Island doesn't even seem to exist in this universe.
Every island floats.
Yeah. What's
What
one
makes
more?
Angel Island so special?
Exactly. You think that's what it was? He was like, oh man, every island floats. I'm going down to the ground. Because he's just
Not
down
cool
here. He's just down here near Eggman Land.
Maybe it's because he can't dig so much in floating islands.
Oh,
Because eventually he falls.
Do you think that's what happened? He just fell out and couldn't get back up because he doesn't have a plane?
Because the president didn't gift him the tornado.
He's been down here for years and no one noticed.
He became a bounty hunter out of necessity.
Doing bounties for robots. They're the only people with money down here. As the sun starts to set, Knuckles accentuates his ensemble with a pair of cool shades.
Mm-hmm.
And then because he's wearing cool shades, he's able to see Eggman Land through the bright shining sun.
Because they couldn't see the entire city there until the sun went down.
Yeah, the sun drew their attention in that direction. And that's when they saw it. Well, that's when it lights up. When the sun goes down, it all lights up with the big image of Eggman.
I loved that.
Me too, it was great. So Sonic and Tails rush off towards it, and then Knuckles decides to join them, running through the air. I really don't like it.
Yeah.
He's just running in midair. Don't do that, Knuckles. Please stop.
Stop defying the laws of physics, Knuckles.
And as they disappear into Eggman Land, Tails gives us a thumbs up. Breaking my immersion.
4 out of 10.
It's very cute. Tails is very cute this whole time. And there's also a song playing.
Can we talk about the song?
Yeah, the song is Look-alike, performed by Ryu Konaka, who also wrote the lyrics. Is it the lyrics you'd like to talk about?
It is the lyrics that I would like to talk about. And what are they?
They are pretty damn good. On a Sunday, riding my bike, I notice many things that look alike. On a Sunday, riding my bike, I notice many different things that look alike. Ice and water, steak and cow. Autumn this year and last year. Spark and burn, rain and cloud. A, B, C, D. Tuesday, Wednesday. This is all from memory, by the way.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
How many times have you heard this song?
Many times. Wait, let me look at it. I can't remember the... It's Tuesday, Wednesday, so is Friday. How about moons and headlights? What I say and what I think. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I believe those are the lyrics.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's a lot more. It's a pretty long song. You should look it up. It's great.
I think I get the gist.
My favorite part is, a long time ago, one caveman had a busy day, making tons of names.
I could not get through that credit sequence without losing my mind.
Oh, here's another great line. Everything came out of this planet. A boyfriend, a pencil, even your new videos.
What does that have to do with Sonic the Hedgehog?
There's a lot of nonsense in these lyrics, and I love it. It's really funny.
Oh, I couldn't handle it.
Night and universe, human ocean, foot in pool, imagery, and in real life.
Human ocean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't remember that lyric. But it's listed
like
here.
Ocean.
Human ocean, foot in pool. A, B, C, D. Well, that's where it ends. That's where this episode ends. If you watched it in movie form in the dub, then you know it goes right into the next part. But we didn't watch that today. We'll watch it another time.
We'll get there,
Yeah.
you greedy people.
We got to see Metal Sonic.
Yeah, it has to come together.
Yeah. Oh, you want to know what happens?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wait, before we stop talking about the song, by the way, I looked up Ryu Konaka, and I found her discography. Would you like to know the names of the albums? Because they're pretty funny.
Yes, please.
Hiccups. A Funny Egg. Oops. Hokey Dokey. Bullshit.
Okay.
Ryu's album. And Mommy is President. I think I am in love with her.
I think she's insane, and I love it.
I hope she's still working. I didn't look at the dates on these albums. I think it was quite a while since the last one, but
because she's president now.
I guess so. Well, her mom is. I'm not sure. Oh, anyway, but we're not done talking about this quite yet because I've got some things to say about the dub here.
Uh-oh.
So it was dubbed by ADV Films, a company that specialized in licensing Japanese movies and OVAs for international home video release. When they first started, they were only doing it in Japanese with subtitles, but they later started actually dubbing stuff themselves. And I got this movie... I got the VHS, and it wasn't available in stores here. I don't know if it was different in America. Maybe you could just pick this tape up in a store. But over here, I had to mail order it. And to do that, I had to find this like weird order form on the internet. And then I had to fill it out and send it off with a check that my mom wrote. And then just hope that they would send me back a tape.
You've told me that story before. How weird.
But I got it. I got the tape. I still have it. It's one of the few VHS tapes I've kept because it's like it means something to me because of the weirdness I had to go through to get it.
And the weirdness you had to go through to watch it.
Yeah. There are only 3 VHS tapes that I've kept. I think my mom still has some other ones, but the 3 that I've got here with me are this, Mewtwo Returns, and Tiny Toon Adventures, How I Spent My Vacation. Which, to my knowledge, has never had a DVD release.
Yeah, they used to play that on TV all the time.
Oh, it's so good.
I haven't seen it since I was un bebe.
How I Spent My Vacation is my, that's my benchmark for what Tiny Toons is.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I watched so much of the show, and I loved the show, but when I think of what I love about Tiny Toons, all of the best stuff is concentrated in that movie. It's just really good. It's really funny. I think it's got the best animation of the whole series, which makes sense because it's a movie.
Streaming anywhere?
I don't know. Like I said, as far as I'm aware, I don't think they even released it on DVD, which is why I kept this VHS tape because I've never seen it in any other form. If it's streaming anywhere, it would be on HBO Max, but I don't think HBO Max really has any content anymore, from what I've heard.
It does.
Everything I ever hear about HBO Max is that they're removing things, so...
I don't know. I don't use streaming services often. I wouldn't know if they removed anything. It's not on here, but they have Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Oh, well, at least that's still there. Is there any Tiny Toons on there?
No.
No. I think they removed Animaniacs recently, so maybe they removed Tiny Toons as well.
They have Tom and Jerry, my favorite show.
Anyway, apparently ADV Films were the first to dub Evangelion and Battle Angel Alita. So if you watch the original dubs of those, you are watching their work.
I didn't. I watched it subbed like a true weeb.
No, there you go. This is the thing I found the most interesting. Apparently, ADV Films had a program where if you started an anime club, they would send free tapes for you to screen.
Okay.
The club needed to be sponsored by a high school, a college, a university, or a public library, and have at least 10 members.
Did they have to sign off to prove that they were there?
I guess so, I don't know. But at its height, apparently almost 3,000 of these clubs existed in North America. Just getting free anime tapes from ADV Films to screen. ADV Films closed in 2009, and apparently Sentai Filmworks now owns the brand name. The dub of this is pretty faithful. There's no visual changes. They kept all the music. They changed a couple names, but only to keep in line with Sega's changes. So Eggman became Robotnik, Black Eggman became Metal Robotnik, Eggman Land became Robotropolis, which was the name of the city from the Saturday morning cartoon that we haven't watched yet. That's it. That's all I have to say about the dub. It was a good dub. The fact that they didn't even change that ending song.
That's the best part. Why would they change it?
Yeah, exactly. There's one more thing. There's one more thing for us to talk about here.
Okay.
And that's the legacy of this OVA. There's quite a few things, actually.
Knuckles' hat.
Knuckles' hat, yeah, that became known as his treasure hunting hat. It was worn by his future self in the Archie comics. It made a cameo in the Archie Sonic Boom comics. He has an unlockable skin wearing it in the Sonic Forces mobile game. And most recently, it just appeared again in the IDW comics, being worn by Mecha Knuckles.
Mecha Knuckles.
Yeah, Mecha Knuckles from Sonic Advance. He's back. And he's pissed.
And he has a hat.
Yeah, Mecha Knuckles from Sonic Advance. They just recently did a mini-series where it's Mecha Knuckles from Sonic Advance fighting Mecha Sonic from Sonic and Knuckles, who is now a good guy.
Okay.
I haven't read it yet, but everyone's been saying it's fantastic. It's set on an island that is made from the crashed Death Egg, and like loads of abandoned Eggman robots have made a peaceful home for themselves there. And Mecha Sonic is their leader.
Cute.
Yeah, he's all damaged and he wears a big cape, so he looks really cool. As far as I know, this is the first place where Tails' fear of lightning was mentioned, but it might have just been a part of his internal bio already, and they just hadn't mentioned it publicly before this. Because there's a few things like that. Like he has a love of mint candy, but that wasn't mentioned anywhere officially until recently. It was just like internal information.
What a strange thing.
Yeah, whenever Sonic Team make a new character, they come up with all this information about them. And then it's just like there in their biographies that are used internally, but don't necessarily come up. Like Knuckles loves grapes. I have known that Knuckles loves grapes for decades because the British Sonic comic printed the internal bio they were sent when they revealed him as a character. And it was like, Knuckles likes grapes. And I was like, oh, okay. And just accepted that.
I'm going to commit that to memory.
But it hasn't been mentioned again until the second Sonic live-action movie.
What?
Yeah.
Of all the places.
I know. So fans have known for a while that Knuckles loves grapes, but it just doesn't get mentioned anywhere.
One of these days, it's going to be the key to stopping Eggman.
Yeah. Speaking of Eggman, I think this might have been the first occurrence of Eggman Land. I searched through some old Japanese game manuals to see if it had been mentioned anywhere before this, but I couldn't find any. Starting from Sonic Adventure, it's mentioned really frequently in the games. Because building Eggman Land is Eggman's ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that it had ever been named before this movie. So I wonder if this movie was like they just put Eggman Land in and then and then Sonic Team were like, yeah, Eggman Land, that's what he's trying to build.
Hold on, that's a really good idea.
So yeah, from Sonic Adventure onwards, Eggman talks all the time about how he wants to build Eggman Land, and in Sonic Unleashed, he finally does it. And
Good for
we
him.
get to see Eggman Land. It's a nightmarish theme park in the games. Which is more fitting of the name, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Also, the opening scene of Sonic chilling by the beach was referenced in the OKKO crossover Sonic episode. OKKO is a Cartoon Network show for anyone who's never heard of it. And inexplicably, it has a crossover episode with Sonic the Hedgehog. And yeah, they recreated the scene of Sonic chilling by the beach. They like recreated the same beach chair and the radio and everything.
But not the owl crashing into it.
No, not the owl, unfortunately. The best part. That's everything I have to say.
That's pretty cool.
Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. I thought it was very cute.
It was cute. I like this. It's not my favorite Sonic cartoon. It's not even my favorite Sonic anime. But it's good. It gets the job done.
Yeah.
It's far from the worst one.
It's fun. The characters felt like the characters.
Yeah. Yes, this is the earliest animated thing where I think Sonic feels like the Sonic that I know from the games.
Sonic that I know personally
'Cause-
from our 20 years together.
Exactly. Because the other shows we watched, in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, he feels more like Bugs Bunny with super speed. Right? Because he's just doing Bugs Bunny stuff. Sonic Underground, he doesn't feel like he has all that much personality in Sonic Underground.
My brain just immediately said Sonic Unleashed. And I was like, well, yeah, because he's fighting the werewolf within.
No,
No, that's a different thing.
He's great in Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed is actually like one of my favorite versions of Sonic as a character. Because what's happening in Sonic Unleashed is that there's like this darkness that's affecting everyone in the world at night, and it changes their personalities. It makes them like depressed or angry or something at night.
What if you're already depressed and angry?
Well, then it makes you the opposite. It basically makes everyone the opposite of whatever they are during the day. But Sonic gets changed physically instead, but his personality stays the same. And for most of the game, it's like not really clear why that is. But then towards the end, they say like, it's because you're too strong. Your personality's too strong to be affected by this. No matter what happens to you, you'll always be you. And I just thought
but
that was...
you will be a werehog.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have a wolf body. But you're too strong to lose yourself like everyone else has. And I like that about Sonic. He's always going to be Sonic.
He's always going to be that little blue shit.
Yeah. Who tricked you into punching yourself in the face.
That was Tails.
Was it Tails? I thought it was both of them.
Tails.
Okay.
I mean, it was, both of them. But the one who got up in his face was Tails.
Okay, Sonic just laughed about it.
Yes.
Because he punches himself in the face and then they're both on the floor laughing about it. Pissing him off even more. I thought that was really funny. Sonic and Tails, my favorite duo in history. You know that.
Yeah, I know that about you.
Ash and Pikachu, also a very good duo.
Mario and Luigi?
Mario and Luigi, also very good. Yep. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And if you would like to support our show Nanigans, then you can go
I
to
hate it.
you can go to patreon.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub and get some exclusive outtakes of conversations we had that weren't relevant enough for the show, but were still funny enough for the Patreon.
One of these days, we'll have extra episodes.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I've had thoughts. I kind of know what I think we should do, but it's when we get around to it.
Yeah.
You could also find us at coffee.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub if you want to throw money at us there. Or if you want to don't throw money at us and communicate with us anyway, you can find us at Twitter at sbreakfastfc. Or you could go to the YouTube video and leave a comment there. I'll read it.
If you want to see the nightmares that I have propagated, they'll be on the Twitter.
Oh yeah, any drawings that Mel drew during the recording of this episode, of which there were several, they will be ending up on the Twitter when this episode goes live, so...
We will inflict this on the entirety of the internet, so we don't have to suffer alone.
Bye!
I've been having some focusing problems this week.
Yeah, I heard that.